Welcome back to Adventures of a Black Belt Sommelier. When someone asks, what's the greatest wine you've ever tasted, or what's among the greatest wines you've ever tasted, the common assumption is that it will be red and dry. Is it 47 Cheval Blanc? Is it 61 Hermitage La Chapelle? 61 Chateau Latour? 85 Gigal La Turque? Some incredible vintage of Giacomo Conterno Barolo? 85 Sassicaia? 23 Romani Conti. I've been lucky. Drunk those wines, poured those wines, opened those wines, served those wines, tasted all those wines, some of them on several occasions. They're all amazing. They're all red. They're all dry. They're, they're all once in a lifetime wines. But one of the greatest wines I've ever tasted, and I've tasted this wine several times, it's the 2001 Chateau d'Yquem, which is a Sauterne. You may know it's a Sauterne. It's the Sauterne. The next best Sauterne is not nearly in the same league as Chateau d'Yquem. I often say that Chateau d'Yquem is the greatest wine in the world because in the 1855 Bordeaux classification, when the four first growths were named, Chateau d'Yquem was named first great growth, so above the Latour, Aubryon, Margaux, and Lafite. Um, it's and I've been lucky. I've drunk a lot of great vintages of Chateau d'Yquem, the 21, the 59, the 67. It's funny, 67 is a terrible vintage in Bordeaux, but it's an incredible vintage for Chateau d'Yquem. Um, and, and 1900, 1900 Yquem. Um, and there's just nothing like it in a good vintage. And of course, they don't really bottle it in off vintages. And the 2001 is arguably the greatest of all vintages of Chateau d'Yquem. It is an extraordinary, life-changing. If your life can be changed by a bottle of wine, this might be the one. Both the Wine Advocate and Venice Media say that it's a 100-year wine. I think stored properly with a good, if you're lucky with a good cork, well, they test all their corks for TCA, so the corks are good. It might be more than a 100-year wine if stored in a cool place, in a cool, dark place, and not messed with. But in a great vintage of Chateau there's nothing like it. It has enormous power and concentration, but it also has beautiful delicacy at the same time. It's incredibly complex. There's a smorgasbord, what you call a smorgasbord of aromas and flavors. There's caramelized peaches and nectarines, and there's spiciness and allspice and nutmeg and cloves and ginger. There, you know, brulee sugar. Um, it could go on. It's lavender and um, lilacs and richness and concentration and powerful in the mouth. This unbelievably long finish. I mean, I think the finish is like years long. you know, the rule of thumb for a wine is it's a great wine if the finish is 90 seconds. I think the finish on 2001 Chateau d'Yquem might be 90 years. It's so extraordinary, and it's so rich and so textured, so just incredibly complex. I mean, you could just go on and on and on saying, well, it smells like this and it tastes like this and it feels like that. And also the other thing, you know, young Sauterne is really great with foie gras. It's not really. I don't think it's great with sautéed foie gras. I think it's great with a mousse of foie gras or torchon of foie gras. Um, and believe it or not, at 23 years old, this wine is really, really young. It's also an incredible wine with a cheese course with like Roquefort cheese. Um, really just a little chunk of Roquefort, maybe drizzled with some lavender honey. Um, that's about all it needs. Mm, some gingerbread, maybe toasted gingerbread. And then, of course, it's great with dessert. It's great with caramelized peaches. I I recently made caramelized some peaches and cooked them in caramel and then stuffed them with mascarpone cheese. Um, the 2001 Ecam would be great with that, but I think if I were going to serve the 2001 because it's so young, I would open it about 3 days in advance and decant it a day in advance in order to serve it as a dessert wine. Um, it's obviously incredibly, the 2001 is a very, very expensive bottle of wine. But if you ever have a chance, if you're wealthy enough to buy a bottle of 2001 Chateau d'Yquem, don't hesitate. If there is a wine that will change your life, this might be the one. Um, and or if you are offered a glass, don't hesitate. If you're offered an opportunity to taste 2001 Chateau d'Yquem, do not hesitate. Do not give the person offering you that glass of wine a chance to change their mind because it is really something. I don't know. I don't know the word special is not a powerful enough word. It is some rare, rare and unique indeed. This picture behind me is the wine cellar at Romaniconti. A lot of people think that Romaniconti is the greatest, the most profound wine in the world, the most sought after wine in the world. Certainly, 2001 Chateau d'Yquem is up there with 59 or 71 or 23, any vintage of Romaniconti you want to name. It is really, really magical, celestial, incredible, mind-boggling wine. Thanks for tuning in for Adventures of a Black Belt Sommelier. Um, we had a lot of downloads in China today. First ever downloads in China, and we had a lot, which is so. If you're Chinese and you're seeing this, I wish I knew how to say welcome in Chinese. Well, welcome to anyone in China watching this. We appreciate your interest, and I hope you'll tune in more in the future. Thank you so much.